Hello everyone, welcome. I'm just gonna wait a little bit to see if people turn up. If not, hopefully they turn up by the end so that the last bit isn't too short. But yeah, so it will be a review on Niru Admirari no Tenbin. Obviously, I'm going to put the timestamps in the description below so that you can skip past all of these parts and go straight to the review. Hey Maura, welcome. Obviously I can't say hi to everyone because I'm probably gonna like start once I see a couple of people pop in, but the sound is on this time. I decided to skip the starting soon bit and just have like a little bit of a hello. Okay. Okay, there's a couple of people. That's good. In which case, I am going to start. So, obviously, it's the same format. I'll basically be doing my review as if this is just a video, and then at the end, I can like talk about it with you guys. But anyway, let me start. Oh, God. So, today I'm going to be talking to you about um, Nil Admirari no Tenbin. But before I start, thank you very much to Lily and Vizca and Kurtbliss. I really appreciate the tips and it shall go towards my next Otome game. Also, note that although I would not consider any of what I include in this video as spoilers, I'm aware that what you consider spoilers and what I consider spoilers may not quite align. So if you're even a little bit sensitive and you don't even want to know what the characters look like, then I would swiftly move on. But anyway, let me start. So, this game is, as you can tell, really pretty. Unfortunately, it is not localized, so it's available in Japanese and Chinese, but not in English. So obviously, but saying that, I'm not gonna lie to you, given the amount of localizations we've been getting, I am sort of it's like a never say no kind of situation, if you know what I mean. Like no one expected Norn 9 fan disc to be, localized, for example. But anyway, let's go straight down into it. So, the plot. This game is based in the Taisho era, so like 1920s, I think. You can kind of see it in the fashion. It's about this main character, Tsugumi, who is from a prestigious family that's declining. Think of like the stereotypical, they used to be rich, but now they're starting to run out of funds, but they think working is like a lower class thing, so they don't, and then they're having to sell stuff. Now, of course, in order to resolve this, more often than not, families would get their daughters to marry a rich person so that they can, keep on living the way they're used to. So that's exactly what happened here. Unfortunately, when her younger brother found out, he kind of freaked out. He didn't like it because he's quite protective. And yeah, he locks himself into his room to read a book that unfortunately happens to be cursed because in this world, if someone wrote a book with immense sort of emotion, it basically ends up causing the book to, yeah, be cursed. That's the most simple way of putting it. And when someone reads that book, it messes with their minds. And in her brother's case, he sets fire to the room and therefore the house and ends up in hospital with severe burns. So it's like, yeah, and so the main character faints, and when she wakes up, she realizes she's got this ability to see like an aura around these cursed books, which normally most people can't. It just looks like a normal book. So as a result of that, the noble organization that manages these mare mono, as they call it, end up kind of recruiting her. She works with them, and it's all about her, going on a search for these books while romancing the love interest. So it's all right. It's all right. But I will tell you how I feel and note that these are my opinions. There are many out there who actually really like this game, which is why I'm like very carefully treading at the moment. So let's quickly talk about the scenario writers. You've got Katagiri Yuma, who is also in charge, who also wrote the scenario for Olympia Soiree and Tengoku Struggle. Working with the artist Satoi, who did, Olympia Soiree, Tengoku Struggle, Oz Mafia, Diabolic Lovers. I mean, you can immediately tell the moment you see it, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's the same team that worked. Just think of Olympia Soiree. I mean, it's not so similar, but it's good to know, who wrote what it was. Now, the system, it took me about, I think, 45 hours to complete the game. It depends on whether you sort of, listen to the whole voice acting or not, but that's kind of like the typical length. I think it took 6 hours per character for my first playthrough, and then obviously you could skip bits, which is why it was about 4 per character after that, I think. I can never like remember exactly. Unfortunately, there is no skip to next option. Now, I get it. Everyone out there, is like, oh, but back in the old times, there was no skip to next function. I get that. And I was playing, Olympia Soiree, for example, which did not have a skip to next function. But now I am used to the skip to next function. And if I don't have it, it, makes me sad. It just takes forever. Fortunately, there is a love catch. If you pick the correct choice, there are these scales basically, and then the good scales come down and there's pretty music. If you pick the bad choice, then the dodgy part of the scales come down. It's like an ominous music, so it's quite obvious. I believe you can turn it off if you'd rather go in blind. There are 2 locked routes, Rui and Hayato. So you would play the first 4, and then you would play Rui and then Hayato. So Hayato is like the post boy and the very last route. And there is a secret route, but I'm not going to talk about that because it's a secret for a reason. So, talking about the characters, first up is the main character. So this is Tsugumi-chan. She's she comes from a prestigious family, so of course she's a very sheltered young girl. She went to like a girls' school where they primarily learned about cooking, housework, that sort of thing. So she's really homey. She's really good at home stuff, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm very jealous of because now I'm like doing the wifey thing and I know very little about cleaning and it's a complete nightmare. But saying that, she does try her absolute best when she does enter the organization, and it is really sweet seeing her try her best and how she's like trying really hard to break out this shell of being the lady or damsel in distress, and it is cute, and look how adorable she is. I mean, how can you like say no to that? I do like the designs. So I'm going to go through all the characters in the order in which I completed them. So firstly, I completed Hisui, who is voiced by Osaka Ryouta. He also voiced Shu from Dairoku Agents of Sakuradani. Is that the English name? He also voiced Takuma from Fortissimo, which is an unlocalized game, but I thought I'd include that anyway. He wasn't really my type because he's a Shota character, but he does have pretty eyes. And I think he's really like polite and nice, if you know what I mean, but in other routes or even the beginning of his route, you do feel a bit of a distance, like he's just being nice, and he does seem to have a slight diversion to women for some reason. But his backstory was really quite emotional. I remember feeling a little bit like, I didn't cry, but I did feel a bit teared up in a way, and yeah, it was good. Next one is Shizuru. He is voiced by Suzumura Kenichi. He also voiced Tomose from Charade Maniacs and everyone's beloved Zack from Crisis Core. He is extremely flirty. Think of him as like the playboy character of this game. He is a famous romance writer, and you can't help but think, of course he's a famous romance writer. He's so experienced with women. And he is always constantly teasing Tsugumi because obviously she's this girl that's never liked anyone, she's never had any romance, and you've got this like playboy constantly teasing her, and she is quite funny. And as you'd expect, I think his route was quite, I think as far as this game goes, relatively steamy. I think I would place him 3rd place in terms of steam level, maybe. I don't know. See, unfortunately, this game didn't really leave much of an impression in my mind, so it's not like I'm really remembering things like to the greatest detail. I actually had to look up some like notes that I made. So this one's Akira. He is voiced by Okamoto Nobuhiko, which is everyone's favorite, because infamous Yang, and you've got Taiga, and he's got that kind of almost ASMR voice, kind of. So I think quite a few people are a fan of Okamoto Nobuhiko. And this guy is the kudere. So if you like kuderes, he is perfect for you. Like He's a stone to begin with. He really tries hard to keep a distance and is a lone wolf type. Like he kind of has, obviously he's civil with everyone, but he very much hates like being friends with everyone, that sort of thing. So he just kind of wasn't is on his own, and it is nice seeing him and Tsugumi kind of develop as a couple together. Is really sweet, but you know, it took quite a long time to sort him out. Then you've got Shougo Ukai, which is my favorite character. He was everything I love in an Otome game love interest. He's voiced by Kimura Ryouhei, yet another famous voice actor. He also voiced Shiraishi and Gil from Cupid Parasite. And he is a tomboy crossed with Ore-sama, and it's just perfect. So I absolutely adored him because you could tell he really liked Tsugumi, but then he keep on saying the wrong things, and Tsugumi sometimes gets it, sometimes doesn't, but it's really cute watching it. Like, it's adorable because he tries to be all high and mighty, but it's not really working. And I just, now it very much felt like a route where I enjoyed the character. The story of that route itself was extremely focused on Shougo himself, so it didn't feel like it was part of the plot. So for some, it might actually be good to play his route maybe first. I don't know, because I went from kind of my least interested to most interested, hence why Shougo is fourth. And yeah, but yeah. I'm speechless. I liked him so much. Now, this is the first locked route, which is Rui Sagisawa. He is voiced by Sakurai Takahiro, who also voiced Alma from Bad Apple Wars. And funnily enough, and I had to include him as an example, Landy from Shenmue 3, who is... He's probably my favorite guy from Shenmue 3, so I thought it's kind of funny. I didn't realize they were voiced by the same person. Now, he was very like, so he kind of basically gets to know Tsugumi at the very start, and he is a university student working, well, studying in a nearby uni, and he is really mysterious, and you can tell he's smart, he's polite, he seems like a good guy, but there is a lot of mystery surrounding him, since, you know, Tsugumi doesn't live with him, so you only see him in bits and pieces here and there and there. Now, he was probably my favorite in terms of route. I felt like so much happened in his route where the pacing was right. The pacing in his route, if that was the pacing in all the other routes, I really would have enjoyed this game. Because the main issue I had with this game was that the pacing was a little bit, but if all the routes were like Rui's, then this would have been amazing because his route was really well paced. It was really exciting. You constantly wanted to know what's happening next, and he was great. And he's a really fun character. Also, the romance in his route was probably one of the higher ones. Yeah, definitely. Last but not least is the poster boy Hayato. He is voiced by everyone's favorite Kaji Yuki. So think of Kanato from Diabolic Lovers, Kei Okazaki from Column Malice. Yeah, think of all the. I'm trying to think of all the examples. Oh, you've got what's that? The guy from Tokimeki Memorial GS4 that I was trying to complete. He's also Kajiyuki. There are quite a few that he's voiced, and everyone loves him. Now, he does suffer from poster boy syndrome. So, now that's a good thing if you like poster boys. If you really like poster boys, then this is an amazing character for you because he really is the most stereotypical poster boy I have come across. And he really gives off hero vibes where he's there when you need him, he comes to the rescue. I guess, is the type that you would like in real life, except in an Otome game, I personally always find the poster boys a little bit kind of, I don't know. I think there are a lot of people out there who do like poster boys though. So, you know, if you're like that, then you would probably like this character. But for me, he was a bit too ordinary, but he was really steamy compared to all the other characters. I actually really may have been more. I'll go into more detail about that in a moment. So let me go through who I would and wouldn't recommend this game to. I would recommend to those who obviously like Satoi, as the art you can tell is by Satoi and it's really pretty. And if you like Taisho era, because it really gives off that Taisho roman, as we call it in Japan, where it's like this old sepia vibes, and it is nice. I would also recommend it to those who generally like the kind of personality and stuff of the characters, because I think that is kind of your saving grace for this. Like Shougo is Ukai Shougo is the one that actually kept me going, because the other characters I wasn't too sure of, and then I played him and I was like, oh my god, I love his route, well, him as a character, and that meant his route was really enjoyable. So, obviously look at the characters, look into them a bit, and if you like them, then fair enough. If you care a lot about VAs, because you've got people like Kimura Ryouhei, and you've got like Kaji Yuki and Nobuhiko, and there are quite a few VAs out there that, in this game, that I would say are like famous and people like them. So if you are fans of those VAs and you just want to hear them, like hear their voices in your ears, then obviously go for this. And if you like kind of old-fashioned, delicate romance, so the thing is, it's really weird because a lot of people well, I had read that this game was really steamy, so I was expecting Olympia Soiree. I did not get Olympia Soiree. I don't know, it was really weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's almost like there's no foreplay and they just kind of get down to it, except you don't see it because it's a R17 game. So the furthest it kind of got was, I guess, making out with clothes on, which seems quite far for an R17 game. But I guess the description of it was so flowery that it didn't really fit the CG, so I didn't actually feel all that much. But if you're not looking for steam and if you're just looking for like a sweet flowery romance, then I think this might be good for you, because it was really like delicate and fluffy and flowery. That's probably the best way to kind of describe this. Which makes me go on to the who I wouldn't recommend this game to. I would not recommend it to those who care a lot about plot and story. It's not that the plot was bad, it's just the pacing was really not for me. It almost felt like it was the same thing for the first maybe 80% of the route, where she's walking around looking for books, feeling disappointed she didn't find any cursed books, and then makes miso soup for the people she's living with, meets her friend, walks around town again looking for books, gets disappointed, and then makes miso soup. And then in the last 20%, all the plot happens. So the last 20% is interesting, but the first 80% you're like, yeah, we get it. And so yeah, if that's something you care about, then maybe not. If you don't like long skipping time, obviously, because you're just like waiting there, but I think that's kind of like a meh point. If you want something spicy, this, as I said, very delicate, flowery love. Personally, that's how I saw it. If you want something spicy, obviously go for Olympia Soiree, or sort of Pure Fiore, or Cupid Parasite. Cupid Parasite is my favorite. And not so much if you recommend is not recommend it so much to those who are looking for comedy. This is not comedy at all. It's like slice of life combined with a bit of angst and a bit of depressing stuff here and there. And also if you're looking for unique bad endings. Now, if you haven't played that many Otome games, then you'll probably enjoy the bad endings. But if you're like me, where you've played quite a few, then the bad endings in Nil Admirari was very kind of predictable, or it wasn't really anything that blew my mind. So I was like, oh yeah, okay, fair enough. And then I'd move on, as opposed to being like, did that really just happen? If you know what I mean. So that's sort of who I would and wouldn't. Now, general thoughts and rating, as I keep on saying, these are my opinions, and the reason why I keep on saying this is because I believe this is quite popular, I think, or I keep on hearing people talk about how they want it localized and all this. So remember, this is my opinion, but it wasn't for me. It did not leave an impression at all. The only thing that I remember is really liking Shougo because of his tomboy Ore-sama-ness, and enjoying Rui Sagisawa's route because it was quite, yeah, it was impactful. It was good. Things are constantly happening. So it didn't really leave much of an impression. As I said, it almost felt like it's really weird. So, you know, in Olympia soiree, Olympia goes around looking for post or whatever and is delivering letters and things like that. But that all happens in the common route, right? And then when you go into each of the individual routes, she starts looking for her husband. So you don't have as much of this posting thing. Imagine the posting, but it continues onto the route so that like 60% of it, you're still seeing her post things. It felt, as I put it here, it felt like 70% of all of the routes were still common routes, because you would see the love interests sort of appear here and there. They may go on a date and you see cute moments, but it felt, as I said, this is just me, but it did really feel like a common route inside the route. And I think if they had paced it so that they put what was in the 20% end, but like more kind of spread across the whole route, I think it would have been so much better. I think the character visuals, I think they look really cute. However, after playing like Tengoku or Olympia Soiree, I know I keep on talking about it, or Diabolic Lovers, where the characters look extremely distinct. In this game, it felt very like they were generic, like they just have a certain hair color and then a white shirt, or I don't know if I'm explaining myself well here, but that's kind of how I felt about them. But you know, it's not that it's a bad game. It's not that it's a bad game. I probably just should have gone in with low expectations, because obviously everyone around me was like, "Oh, I want it localized. I've heard it's really good and this and this." So I went in thinking this is going to be a really exciting, amazing game. And obviously, when you sort of heighten your expectations, when you actually play the game, it kind of dips, because you're like, wait, it's not what I expected. And so maybe I should have gone in with low expectations, because then I may have enjoyed this more. And I definitely wanted more Steam. I want something like Olympia Soiree where I get butterflies. I'm like, oh my god, this is so cute. I love it. I didn't get any of that. I think the reason was because I was looking so hard for like something to happen plot wise. When the romance was happening, like when they're, you know, making out with clothes on, so it's not really steamy, but you know, the steamy scenes as far as R17 goes. Um, I was very much like, yeah, 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 I get it, you're in love. What's gonna happen? Because nothing had happened yet. So that could be why as well. Saying that, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10, because I am probably like, I'm probably should have gone in with like a neutral without knowing anything about it. And I was looking for something steamy, because it had been like 5 or 6 games where it was like barely a kiss game, and I wanted something with a bit more maturity and oomph, if you know what I mean. But I've got this, and so that could be part of why I felt a little bit let down. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10, because I do think it's a good, like, it's a good game. It's solid, it's well made, just it had pacing issues for me. And you know, if you're happy with like slow pacing, then it's probably good. But like, I like constant excitement. I'm the type that goes for a game where lots of things happen unrealistically all in one go and still enjoy that, because at least things are happening, compared to something that's realistically drawn out and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. You know, that sort of thing. So I'm not saying like don't buy it or whatever, because there seems to be quite a few that also like it, but I'm just saying for me, it wasn't like it wasn't the hype that it seems to have, if that makes sense, because Nirado seems to be quite high on people's wish list for localization. I don't, maybe it's the Satoi, or because it's the same scenario, right, as Olympia Soiree, maybe? I'm just not sure. But yeah, now final verdict is I've got the same thing that I did last time. Story, I've given it a 2 out of 5, because I really, like, honestly, I did really enjoy Rui Sagisawa. And there were some routes where, like, things did happen, as I said, and it was interesting. It's just the pacing that bothered me. So I'm giving it 2 out of 5. Characters, I'm giving it 2.5, because I really liked Shougo enough that I made up for any characters that I was not into. There weren't any characters I wasn't into, to be honest. They were all like all right. It was just that Shougo took the shining crown by a mile, followed by Rui, and then the others I was kind of like I could give or take type of thing, which is why it's a bog standard 2 out of 2.5. Music, okay. I really like the music. The music was really pretty, especially when they're having the intimate scenes. I felt like it was just really, they really hit the right spot. Like when something serious is happening or something romantic is happening, they got this music out, and when the music really fits the scene and it just feels really good because you're like, yeah, this is it. It was like that. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. And also, the bad ending music was really eerie, creepy, and I loved it. I'm obviously can't really explain it, but it was just a really creepy, melancholic kind of ending music, and it was, yeah, I really liked it. Oh, obviously I'm giving it a 4 out of 5, but I prefer Olympia Soiree and maybe Tengoku Struggle. So it's not a 5 out of 5, and obviously I like Radiant Tail art style. That's really pretty. So, compared to that, it's not quite that, but I still really thought it was one of the prettier Otome games. So I'm giving it a 4 out of 5. In terms of romance, I'm giving it 75% because the romance was there at the end. Like I'd say the last 30% of the route maybe you would see the romance, and it was really sweet. And as I said, they make out on a bed before it blacks out. No skin color, by the way. I think there was one route where you sort of see skin color, but just to lower expectations for those who are looking for something like Olympia Soiree where you see like complete skin color. um so I'd say 75% because it had like it was sweet. You'd get a kiss scene and it was sweet. So yeah, that's kind of it. But anyway, as always, case, thank you for watching my review. And if there are any questions regarding this game, then ask me now. Oh, and before, the question of today is, what historical fiction otome game did you enjoy most out of the ones you've played? But yeah, okay, question time now. Pacing can really have an impact. The art style, VAs, and romance are probably enough reasons for me to get it if it were to be localized. Yeah, that's the thing. I think quite a few people liked it because of the art style, because it is really pretty, as you could tell. That's the thing. I think localized games, it's kind of like, because not all otome games get localized, it's quite exciting when it does. I can see that if this was released in English, then I can see lots of people going for it. I haven't played the Niru Ador fan disc, though I have heard that the fan disc is better than the main game. But I'm burnt out of this game, as you can probably tell, it wasn't like my favorite, so I've had enough of it. But I will come back to the fan disc at some point. I'm just not sure because it was just the freaking walking around the town and making miso soup. I mean, I saw her go around town looking for books and making miso soup so many times by the end of that game. Hey Casey, welcome. Yeah, the music is really pretty, especially when all the romantic bits happen. It's just like, this is perfect. And I mean, otherwise, I think I think it's just kind of like personal preference though. Yeah, but I have heard the fan disc is better than the main disc. Historical games. The only one coming to mind is Ikemen Sengoku is my gateway into the. Oh, I always say I want to try Ikemen Prince and Ikemen Vampire actually, but I can imagine myself ending up spending so much money. Don't really like historical games unless they were. Well, I like Taisho period games. I like this. I like Hanayaka Nari Waga Ichizoku. Hanayaka Nari Waga Ichizoku, I think is the name. I also like Chonodoku. So I like Taisho period. It's more the Sengoku period that I tend to kind of feel a little bit weary of because always people die and I'm like, I don't want to see like 3 love interests die. How did you like the bad endings? The bad endings were So I really like bad endings. I actually prefer bad endings over good endings because good endings tend to be a happily ever after, which is fine, and you need that to kind of buffer, after you've experienced the tragic ending. But the bad endings for this were very like obviously I'm not going to say what they were, but they were very like I don't know, it was a very short bad ending. Like I wasn't really that mind blown by the bad endings. Saying that, if you haven't played many Otome games, then you'd probably still enjoy the bad endings of this one. It's just obviously I've seen so many now that whenever you see one that you've already seen, it doesn't have as much of an impact. So that could be why. I don't know if you say it, but how long is the common route was about, I'd say 3 hours maybe, something around those lines. Um, it wasn't too short, it wasn't too long type of thing. Chuondoku and Nightshade the most. Ah, I see. Yeah, I like Chuondoku too. Mobile games. I recently have been playing. It's one by Story Taco. It's like a vampire one. I'm not sure how into it I am, but it's called Blood Kiss. Birishana is very good too, but I prefer Nightshade. Ooh, okay. You've increased my interest in that. Nightshade has been on my mind for a very long time because everyone keeps on telling me to play it. Yeah, also historical games always suffer from not like Taisho period, but like Sengoku or, you know, samurai type historical fiction always suffer from, I think, repetitiveness because, they fight the same wars and so you see the same war over and over and over again. But that could just be me. I definitely felt more fighting than romance. Okay, so it is like plot over romance. I think it was 3 hours. Was it two? I remember it not being like it wasn't like Code Realize where you've got like a ridiculous, amount of this may as well be a route and a common route combined type of thing. But Blood Moon Calling, okay. Oh, you're the first one to say Samurai Love Ballad Party. I've seen some of the CGs, Sakura Do, and I'm like, I really want to play it, but also, should I? I really wish there was more like Western historical fiction. I can only think of the one that's based in the French Revolution. It's called Barani Kakusare Shiverite or something. It's an unlocalized game. It has gameplay. I've played a little bit of it. I just kind of quit because I didn't like the fact that I knew that, King Louis, this was it 16th, was gonna die because of the revolution. It made me sad, so I stopped playing it, but I should probably revisit it. Maybe it's not the game I would binge if the routes get repetitive and more like a palette. Yeah, I think it did take me like 6 months maybe to complete Niruado, maybe more actually. Because after each route, it took me a while to kind of it was just, yeah, it didn't leave much of an impression. I feel really awful saying this because I'm sure like some of you watching this right now or are gonna watch it in the future are probably gonna be like, oh, but it's my favorite game, and so I feel a bit bad that I'm kind of saying, it's not like it didn't leave an impression, but as I said, it's just how I felt. It's my indie game about war. I see. I need to give more indie games a go this year, I think. Anime show for it was, oh yeah, there is an anime of it. Hi Bubsy. But yeah, there is an anime for it. I've heard the anime is good. Like as far as otome animes go, I've heard Nido Adol was quite a good one. European, but I'd like other games. Wasn't there like an Ikemen Napoleon as well? Taisho period, it's like 1920s. Think of 20s. Chodoku is also that period. So like sepia colors, Western influences starting to come into Japan, and it's starting to get a bit more modernized. Women, let's work kind of thing. Um, it's a night. I like the that sort of period, and there's a whole like aesthetic around it in Japan, and it's referred to as Taisho roman. So I don't understand why Taisho Arisa has Taisho. Wait, Taisho Arisa, is it the same as that Taisho? Because I can't remember if the kanji was the same. Let me Google it. Taisho Arisu. Yeah, it isn't it? It is, isn't it? I don't know why it's Taisho. Maybe there's something in, that you learn at the end of it. Oh, so Napoleon is the vampire in Napoleon. I mean, Ikemen vampire. I mean, that's the thing. It's got a Chinese localization. So I'm a little bit like, would it get an English one? It's more like I always think if China got it, then maybe England will get it. But I don't know. It's hard to say really. But anyway, I'm trying to think of what game to make a review on next time. It will be either Even if Tempest or Shinobi Koi Utsutsu or Love Pheromone or Brothers Conflict. So I'm not sure which one. Is he giving Vampire better than the Prince one? Yeah, I'm curious about that. I've heard Vampire's more like sensual. That's what I've heard. But I don't know. I haven't played them, so I don't know if anyone else. Since Psychedelic Black Butterfly is done for now since the first reissue. I know you like Yusuke from Brocon, Mary. Yeah, Brocon got the translation patch. Oh, Epic Jules is also once Brocon. Dance with Devils. Yes. Yes, I have done a review on that. I think I did that review in April, I think. I think I really like Dance with Devils. Um, it's just the things that happened in it were just so like as you'd expect from Regit. Sophie, you're adorable. Thank you. But yeah, I am considering Brocon. Although Brocon I have only played, I say only, but note that there are a ridiculous number of characters. I played Yusuke, Kaname, um, the older guy that I always forget the name of, the oldest one, and Azusa. And I think I was playing Wataru, which is really weird because it's like a babysitting route. I've still been tempted to buy Brocon for Switch. I don't blame you. Kayla's lovely did Let's Play videos. Still does. I don't know if she's gonna continue now that the patch is out, but with the cringe the broken anime gave my sister. Oh, maybe I should watch it. I'm curious now. Was it like, wasn't it that she doesn't, who does she pick? So I've heard she picked Subaru, or was it Natsume? I remember someone saying one of them she picks Natsume, one of them she picks Subaru. Poor Yusuke though. Masaomi, that's his name. Masaomi. I think so basically I'm trying to get the ones I'm not that interested done and over with, which is Masaomi, Wataru, um, Subaru. Like they don't really interest me as much as the others. Oh, she didn't pick anyone. Oh. Oh, I hate it when it ends like that. Like you have all these bachelors and you're not even gonna pick one. But yeah, no. I'm glad that the translation patch was finished though. I was waiting, wondering when it would be released. She rejected everyone. Oh, I see. So it was one of those animes where you're like, why do these guys like her all of a sudden? Like, there's no explanation. It's quite cringy, really. You're kind of making me want to play with Pudding-sama though, because I've heard the anime, everyone just kind of likes the main character for no reason. Like, my cousin was telling me about it because my cousin's cousin, um, liked Utano Pudding-sama, so my cousin was curious. So my cousin watched the anime and was like, why does everyone like her? I'm so confused. And then she dropped it, but in the anime, she didn't pick anyone. In the novel, she picked Subaru, and in the manga. Oh, okay. So Subaru and Natsume were in like, okay. I wanted to pick Yusuke. Yusuke's like, poor guy. He's basically been in love with her for ages and then ends up being her. Oh, bless him. He's one of the very few characters where the standing sprite actually has tears on it when he's like embarrassed. My heart, every time I play, like every time I saw him, like I felt sorry for him in every other route. They left you guys on a cliffhanger. Ooh. I agree, Sophie. It tends to be that way where the game, I guess it's because the game you can like pick the route and go down that, and so they have like the time for the romance to develop, whereas the anime, they're trying their best to get all these other characters and it doesn't really work. Okay, because I haven't watched the anime. I've just played some of like I've played a couple of routes for the first game. I thought it was quite I actually quite liked Itano Purisa because it was so comedic. Like everything that happened, I was like, what? In fact, maybe I should play that next. I'm trying to think of what games to play next, actually. I'm sort of thinking of maybe finishing Tengoku. Um, but I'm feeling like something, yeah, like happy, like Tengoku or Utano Prince-sama or I don't know. I'm still sort of reading Raging Loop right now, which by the way, you guys should check out because it's such a good visual novel. It's not an otome game, but it's a really good visual novel, so I highly recommend it. But anyway, I think I'll leave this here because it's not like supposed to be my kind of long 3 hour streams, you know. So yeah, I'll end this here. Um, let me quickly get this up so I don't cut myself off like I did last time because I'm notorious for doing that. Here, but no, I'm just feeling like something comedic and happy. Um, that one will come to my theatre round. Yeah, I finally finished the route and oh, you finished the route in Steam Prison, Casey. Ah, that's another. There's so many games I need to play. Oh, Mary. But anyway, okay. Thank you guys for coming along. It was really fun. Um, remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video slash stream, and hopefully I will see you in another one. But also, if you could vote between Brothers Conflict, no, Brothers Conflict, Even if Tempest, Shinobi Koyutsu, and Love Pheromone in the comments below, I would really appreciate it because I'm kind of torn about. I'm probably going to go for Even if Tempest, but I'll see. But yeah, as always, guys, thank you very much for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, enjoy the content, and hopefully I will see you in another one of my videos or streams. Bye!